Papa Ken Media.
Hello everyone, I'm Papa Ken and welcome to the first of what might potentially turn into a series here on the channel. It depends on whether or not people actually like it. But it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. And just to let you know, I'm definitely in need of working out more, and I've been wanting to go back to movie reviews some more. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch a movie while on the treadmill, walk slash jog for however long the movie lasts, and I'll be giving a review afterward. And, hopefully, again, if people like this, I might make this a more regular thing. I might start doing this more frequently. And basically the show is tentatively titled Tread Material. So it's like, I was thinking either treadmill material or tread material, but me and Jill both thought the tread material sounded a little bit better, so that's what we're going with for now. But yeah, today the movie I'm going to be watching is The Prophecy, the first part of a 5-part movie series starring the immortal Christopher Walken. Now, I have never seen any of these movies, to my recollection. I've never watched any of the Prophecy movies, but my best friend Jared, my childhood best friend Jared, really recommended these to me. And he's actually the one that lent me this DVD set. So I'm really looking forward to checking this out, seeing what it's all about, and just, seeing whether or not it's my cup of tea, seeing whether or not it's something that I will enjoy. And given mine and Jared's tastes tend to be about the same in a lot of ways, I have a feeling I probably will, but only one way to find out, I guess. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I know this might look a little bit weird, my hair looks horrible, but hey, it's nighttime and I don't really care. And besides, I'm about to work out, and you're about to see my jiggly belly in fast motion. But alright everyone, I will see you after I watch the movie, and you'll get to see me walk slash jog in extreme fast forward motion with probably some really silly music in the background. But anyway, let's get right to it. I'll see you after the movie. Alright, so The Prophecy is over, and I'm sure the video was going too fast and fast forward for you to catch some of my expressions, but this was a weird-ass movie, to say the least. Actually, let me check and see when this was made. That's the sequel, 1995. So yeah, this is from 95, and it definitely shows in a lot of ways. This is, like, a lot of aspects of this movie are very 90s. And it has a rather interesting cast. There were several people in here I didn't expect to see. Which, of course there was Christopher Walken. Who else is in here? The most surprising for me was Viggo Mortensen, who was Lucifer. Definitely wasn't expecting that. And then, overall, a lot of the other names, they aren't particularly, shall we say, memorable, or they might not be people you recognize. You can look it up on IMDb, but honestly, the two by far best performances of this movie were from Christopher Walken as Gabriel and then Viggo Mortensen as Lucifer. And I'm not gonna lie, basically like the first half of this movie was just incredibly boring. Now, there was a downside of the DVD I was watching doesn't apparently have subtitles or closed captioning, so with the treadmill going, it was a bit hard to hear at times, and then it's like, yeah, you might have seen me sort of like taking the volume up and down from time to time, or like, well, you saw me holding the remote, and that's what I was doing. The music levels were crazy. Like, there were sometimes where the music would just be out the roof, and then I would turn the volume down, and then people would be talking, but I couldn't hear them, so I would have to turn it right back up. And it was just, yeah, unfortunately without the closed captioning or subtitles, it makes the movie kind of hard to understand completely. But moving on from there, honestly, although the first half of the movie was pretty boring, or not so much boring, it was just really slow. And then even toward the end, it was still, like, the pacing felt slow, but it felt like it was building up to something. What it was building up to, I can't really say for sure whether it was worth it. But throughout the entire movie, from start to finish, the absolute best parts, like the scenes that I looked forward to watching were the ones that Christopher Walken was in, and then right near the end, the ones that Viggo Mortensen was in. And he was only in a few scenes, and with the treadmill going, it was hard to understand what he was saying sometimes because he did a lot of whispering. So that was really annoying, again, especially without subtitles. But, I mean, this entire movie, if you watch this movie at all, you're watching it for Christopher Walken, and he gives you one amazing performance from start to finish. It's like, now, regardless of whether or not the character is written well, which, among all the others, I think I think Gabriel is probably written the best overall. But yeah, just every scene, you're looking forward to the next time Christopher Walken is on screen. Especially when there were kids on screen. I mean, I know you can't expect, really good acting from kids, and I guess especially in the age range that the girl Mary was in and some others. But my God, even when it was hard to hear what the people were saying, Mary most of all, and then the other kids, just like the acting was so bad. Like 90s TV show kid acting bad. It was hard to describe. And some of the absolute worst was when Mary was interacting with the character Simon, who I guess was an angel in addition to Gabriel. But Simon was creepy as hell too. But Mary's just absolute worst scenes were the ones where she was interacting with Simon. And just, it was just such a bad performance. And again, I hate to say that about a kid, but my God, it was just bad. It was some of the most uninspired, what's the right way to say it about a kid? Because, at that age they might not know how to act, per se. But yeah, just anytime a kid was on screen, it wasn't going to be good. And that brings me to, I guess, a couple of gripes I have with this movie. The first major gripe is that, and I don't know if it's just, they were a little bit easier about this back in the 90s. I honestly don't remember, since this movie was made 20 years ago. But there were a lot of scenes that were incredibly creepy. And I mean in like the pedophilic sense. Like, Simon, when he was talking to Mary, was just so creepy. And if he's supposed to be an angel, Gabriel, Christopher Walken, he's pretty much evil, but he was just like evil creepy. Whereas Simon, I couldn't tell. Like, basically, he was this just incredibly creepy figure who basically they had a kid where it looked like he was kissing a kid. And I mean, obviously we find out that's not what the deal is. He is like putting the soul that he took from the evil guy and putting it into the little girl. But still, just that entire scene was wrong. And then we go before that even happens, when what's her name, Catherine, the teacher, finds Mary with Simon. It's like Mary's just sitting by him and like, acting like she does, and then Simon is just being a total creeper right next to her. Just that except for like maybe the very early ones, anytime he was on screen with a kid, which was pretty much Mary, just incredibly, it was just wrong. Just so wrong. And then another gripe I have about this movie, and it's one I don't know exactly how to put, maybe not into words correctly, but there were several Native American or Native Indian characters in this movie, and I think like one, well, not including Mary. Mary was a young Native girl, but like the grandma, I assume it was her grandma, had like 2 lines, I think, and then every other line other Native American characters had was near the end, and they were all chanting, trying to get the soul out of Mary. And I mean, call me overly PC if you want, but that just, I don't know, that entire scene just didn't sit well with me. Had I watched this back in the 90s or even like 10 years ago, it probably wouldn't have bothered me as much. But watching those scenes with just, just them sitting there chanting, doing absolutely nothing else, it just felt really, insensitive isn't even the right word, it's just wrong. It felt really stereotyped, I guess you could say. Yeah, that sounds about right. But overall, what do I think of this movie? Honestly, if I were to give it a rating, I would give it basically a mid-range. Like, it was very average. And it's because there's a lot of bad, but there's also some good. And most of the good, by far, comes from Christopher Walken and Viggo Mortensen. Again, they make this movie. The other characters did a fine job in their acting, other than the kids, but it just felt like the characters were written so blandly. They just didn't have any real personality. Even the main character, what was his name? Thomas? Yeah, Thomas Daggett. I mean, for someone who is, basically the main protagonist of this movie, he was really boring. And we start off with something rather interesting with him, being, he almost became a priest, and then he has these visions, and that made him lose his faith. And, that's an interesting concept for the opening of a movie. But it doesn't really do anything the rest of the movie, until the very end where things kind of got actiony. But yeah, so the good and the bad, it's very hard to say. I don't want to say, if I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give it probably a 3, but like a low 3, because it's on the borderline of being a 2, but those, again, every scene that Christopher Walken and Viggo Mortensen were in, they saved this movie. They really did. And I don't know that I would watch it again, unless, I was just bored or I wanted to hang out and watch it with my buddy Jared sometime. But as far as just watching it again for personal pleasure, I don't know that I would. Even if it was to try and figure out, more of the plot, some of the stuff I might have missed while on the treadmill, it's hard to say really. But yeah, so overall, I would give this movie a 3 out of 5 on the low end. Now, for any of you that have seen this movie, now again, it's the Prophecy movie, please do let me know your thoughts on it. I would love to hear basically what you have to say about it, because this is just my personal experience, and it's my experience while walking on a treadmill, so obviously that's going to, take away a little bit of my being able to absorb all the information and pay complete attention. But yeah, I think this was a rather interesting first episode. In addition to what you might think about the movie, if you've seen it before, please do let me know, what you think of this style of review. It's definitely going to be adjusted and changed over time, but it's something, I thought would be pretty interesting, again, to get me doing movie reviews again, and also helping me to lose a little bit of weight. So, yeah, let me know what you all think, and I will see you all next time on the next tread material. I almost forgot the name. Yeah, that's what it's going to be called, tread material. Alright, next time, everybody.